Hey, my name's Dan Wilson. I'm a volunteer hunter ed instructor with Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife Resources. And this is going to turn into this. What we're going to do is we're going to go over a few little things that you can do to make your own homemade deer blind. You can hunt turkey out of this if you want to as well, but my family, we are predominantly deer hunters. And you may say, well, why would you go through all the trouble to make a permanent or a semi-permanent structure for hunting deer? Well, you got to think back to your first time that you went hunting. Was it cold? Yes. Was it windy? Yeah. Do you wish it wasn't windy? Do you wish it wasn't cold? Do you wish it wasn't raining? Probably yes. This is just fresh off the truck from Lowe's. I went and picked it up. It was $530 for everything here. And the only thing that I'm missing that I'll need to get is shingles and a few trim pieces. So for about $600, which is the cost of 2 hunting blinds, which, as we both know, if you leave them set up during the entire hunting season, you may get to maybe 3 years out of them. So it's an investment, but it would pay for itself over time. All right, what we have here is we have our subframe, or our foundation, so to speak. We're not going to pour it on top of concrete. It's just going to be sitting on the land. We'll probably actually have a few concrete pavers or concrete blocks to put underneath of it. And the dimensions of this is a 2x8, and it is cut 8 foot long. Here's another 2x8. It is cut 8 foot long. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2x8s that are cut to a length of 45 inches. So if you all are good at math, that gives us a box of 4 foot by 8 foot. And we're getting ready to put our subfloor on, which will be the part that we'll actually stand on when we get the walls up and everything. So what we're doing here, right here's our subfloor. It's just a piece of, I think it's 5/8 plywood, and it's sanded on one side, so it'll be real smooth on the inside. Something that's very important at these very basic beginning stages of building anything is that you square it up. So what we're going to do is right here on this edge, we're going to make sure that this corner is square. So it's flush with this end and it's flush with this end, and we're going to take a nail, go right here, we're going to tack it, and then we're going to go down here and we're going to start on this end here. We're going to get it flush here. It looks good down through here. Now you guys see these nails sticking out. You'll see what that's for here in a few minutes. Then we're going to take this one here and tack this. We're not going to drive it all the way down. Then we're going to come up to this corner here is pushed back, so let's go to this corner here because we can tap it a lot easier that way. And then we're going to take and go, going to try to square it up. Looks like it's starting to bounce on us a little bit. Okay, good enough. Well, like I said, we're not going to live in it, so. All right, now once you get that, you can nail, and nail to square it up, and then I'll show you a little trick here in a few minutes. Okay, so what we have here is we have some construction string, and as you saw here earlier, I left some nail heads sticking out. That gives you something to wrap around, so you can take your string and wrap it around the nail heads a few times just to keep it tight, and that will give you a straight line as to where your floor joists are. And then something also to make uniformity and make everything look good, you can take your tape measure, you can lay it out there and nail in 1 foot increments. And the nails that I'm using are, this is a 8-penny. It's called a sinker nail. It's a 8-penny common. It's an interior nail. So if you notice, these nails on the outside, they're galvanized. They look a little bit different color. They won't rust. These will rust, so these are an interior only nail. So you want to keep those dry. They're a lot cheaper than galvanized are. But since we're going to put a roof over this, we can just use sinkers or common nails here. So nailed every foot along the line to make sure that you hit the joist so you're getting your money's worth. Okay, since this is going to be a very heavy project, I'm going to build it on my trailer so I can transport it to where we're going to set it up on our hunting grounds. So if I can magically put this from here to there just by doing this, now that it's on the trailer, it'll be easy to transport and easy to place where we need it to. We're going to start laying out our walls. This is going to be this wall here. It's going to have one window in it, which we'll get to here in a minute. But this is an 8-foot 2x3. I'm using 2x3s because they're cheaper, and there's really no need to have 2x4s because this isn't going to be insulated, and it's not heavy load bearing. It's not like it's going to have a second story on top of it. So 2x3s will be just fine. They're $1 cheaper than a 2x4 studs, and they will work just fine. This is 8 feet long, and at every 2 feet on my tape measure that I've strung out, I'm going to put a mark and put an X. Wherever the mark is the edge of the stud, and wherever the X is, of course at 8 feet, and wherever the X is where the stud will reside. So in theory, when we get this done, it'll look like this. The X is where your stud goes, and right here is where the edge is. And we're doing this at 2 feet centers all the way down. Okay, we've gotten our main wall, one of our 8-foot walls for the far end over here. We've gotten it laid out and nailed up. And we've gotten our 2-foot by 2-foot project window. We got it from just a local Lowe's store. So my plan is to have it slide from side to side so that it doesn't impede the vision of the scope. So the moment of truth, it's right down in there. So that way, oh, and also a few measurements. These are 90 inches long. And like I said, these are 2x3s. These are 8 feet. And it's 36 inches from the floor to the bottom of the window. So that gives you roughly, for an adult shooter, that would be fine. If you need a bench or a step stool for a smaller shooter, for a youth shooter, that'll be fine too. But it's just a lot easier to design for an adult because you can always throw a bench in there or a little step stool for a younger shooter to stand on if they have to shoot from it. We've done a little bit of work since the last picture. We've gotten our walls up, and if it looks a little bit out of square, it is. We're getting ready to square it up when we put the sheeting on. We're getting ready also to put our roof rafters on, and this is just a single pitch roof. It's not a gable roof or anything like that. It's very simple. So whatever you do when you make your rafters, make a template, a single template, and then make others that look like it, exactly like it. Don't make one, then copy one, then copy one, then copy one, because if there's a tolerance or intolerance, it will show more and more for every cut that you make. So like if you cut this a little bit deeper every time, then it'll be too deep and everything will be off. So just remember on your fly rafters on the end, make sure you don't cut the bird's mouth out of them. So, but you guys will see what's going to happen here in a little bit. We'll put the rafters on, and then we'll put the sheeting on the side to square the structure up, so it'll look a lot more stable. And we'll cut out the windows, and we'll cut out the door, and then we'll put the roof sheeting on it. Where we left off, we had just started to put the sheeting on. Now we've got the sheeting, the paneling up on the side for siding, and we've also got the roof sheeting done, and the roof rafters have been run. So the rafters are up, The roof sheeting's on. The side sheeting is on. We've got our holes cut for our windows, and we've got our door. Now, over here is the door that I've been working on. So basically what I did was I took some mess ups from where I was trying to do some roof rafters, and I messed those up. And I used them on the cutout for my door. And I found that my door is just a little, needs to be tweaked just a little bit. So that's what I'm in the process of doing, making sure that it fits. I'm gonna have to trim just a little bit, move this board back a little bit, and then I'll box this in and I'll hang it. And the next time we come back, you'll see what it looks like when it's done. We've got our door mounted. And the main thing, like I said, it's made out of the cutout. The main thing that you want to make sure of for a door, especially one that you're making yourself, my personal opinion, is that it's quiet. There's only one little, you can hear one little spot there where it drags, but it's not a big deal. Of course that it functions all the way open and all the way closed. This little thing in here, it's just something, it's called a slide latch. You can get that at any hardware store. And you drill a little hole in here so that when you're inside you can shut it, put a little handle on it. This was actually some handrail that I had left over from when we added on to our deck a little bit. And another point at showing this stuff like this, if you have lumber laying around, stuff just laying around that you're not using, I get it that people don't want to be pack rats anymore, but I never thought I would use this, so I threw it under my storage shed, and I finally found a use for it. So, like I said, I may get another, this whole cost for the door was probably $15 for this, and this, outside of the lumber, of course. Versus if you're to buy a door, which is probably around $100 or so. I probably, on the inside, I probably put some weather stripping in here as well to try and keep some of the wind from coming through here, because you can see there is a gap and you can see straight through it. Keep some of the wind and also help with some of the scent management, just in case there's a draft that it won't come through the door. I'm not going to insulate the inside of it. I don't really want to put that much money into it. But the next video you'll see, we're going to put these side trim pieces on here to kind of cover up a few shortcomings there. And then we'll put the fly rafters on and the gutter boards. Okay, so our next step that we did here, we did some corner trim, and basically this just covers the plywood at the corner here, where just so you don't get any water intrusion. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put our windows in. I'll go ahead and remove the sticker. Windows are pretty cut and dry as to how you put those in. I made sure that they fit before I put it up here. The only thing about these windows, they generally have a sticker on them, like this right here, that says, important, do not install this end up, bottom of window. So, pretty straightforward. Make sure everything seats in there, seats well. pretty good. You can take the screen out. And then you can see what you're working with when it's time to take the shot. Okay, what we're doing now, since we've got our gutter boards installed, which our gutter boards are this part right here, we're not going to put gutters on this. It's going to be a gutterless design, let's say that. So we're going to have drip edge, which is this stuff here that I'm getting ready to put in. Basically what it is just a real thin sheet of metal, and we'll start on this side here. And the only purpose of this metal is to cover up the end of the sheeting so that it can't get wet. And it doesn't matter if you do a gutter or you don't, you still need to put some drip edge on it. So just go down here and, like I said, make it flush with the edge of your sheeting. Nail it about every foot or so. There's all kinds of different drip edges that you can get at your hardware store. But the cheapest stuff will do, because keep in mind, nobody's living in this. It's just a little cabin. Okay, now to finish this little piece off, we just take 10 snips, cut this last little edge off here. We'll do it on the front. We'll do it on all four sides, just to make sure that no water gets into this OSB, because OSB and water over time does not mix. A few days you'll be fine, but a week or two, no, it's probably gonna be ruined. And now we have arrived at completion for the most part. We finished up the roof, got everything done up there. I've got some blocks, 2x4, and a few other things that you're gonna see that I'm gonna use to get the actual blind off the trailer. And everything else is done. I got the overhangs, the bottoms of the overhangs are encased to keep the animals from getting in, and birds, you don't want birds taking up nest in there as well. So this should be interesting. I'm sure I'm going to get a bunch of funny looks when I'm driving down the road, but we'll see what it looks like when we get to our actual site and get things set up. As you guys can see, I'm improvising a little bit. I'm using a jack handle. Long story short, somebody ran off and forgot a big pry bar sitting in the driveway. So what you can see here is the project is pretty much finished, just lacking a little bit of painting. I've got an old office chair that I pulled in, set in there. You can see some views of what it's going to look like over the field that we hunt. Pretty good coverage there. Good to have a window there. And we've got a window here too, covering the other side, the property we're allowed to hunt. Very good coverage. Something else that could help eliminate or lessen the possibility of accidents is having a gun rack in your hunting blind, a place to set your rifle so you're not playing with it all the time, or so you don't knock it over. Keeps it safe. So just to finish up, outside of putting a little bit of paint on the blind, maybe another coat or two, and finishing up some trim pieces, it's done. It's there. I'm looking forward to this fall, taking my little ones out there and my family. Hopefully the hunting experience will be more comfortable. And as we all know, as experienced hunters, the more time you spend in the woods, the greater the chances that you have of bringing something out of them. I will post a few videos this fall of the results of us hunting out there and seeing what we bring out of the woods. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me if you can through Facebook or YouTube or however you come across this, because you put something on social media, who knows where it's going to end up at. So like I said, if you have any questions about it, or if you need any help or anything like that, or if you need one built, contact me. I did it once, so maybe I can do it again.